If you want to replace worn out U-joints at home using a simple DIY kit, then you're in the right place. Mark the positions first. A balanced Propshaft needs to go back the same way. Use a screwdriver to help pry the circlips out. Using plenty of penetrant is key. This ball joint tool is perfect for Propshaft U-joints. I'm going to lock the clamp in the vise to give myself more control. Pick a bearing cup to start with and begin winding a threaded rod against it. It needs to come out square, especially at the start. If it's angled like mine, use a crowbar to correct it. Never force the bearing out. If it becomes too tight, there's a chance the bearing will snap and score the ball. Reverse the tool, work it back and forth with plenty of penetrant. If you wind on an angle, it will bind. Release the tension and try again. We want this to naturally come out. I'm going to let this soak whilst I make a start on the other side. It was the same story here. I managed to wind it so far before it became tight. Rather than force it, I kept reversing the tool and working it back and forth to loosen it up. Each time I was able to get a little further until eventually I could grip it and pull it out with no force. With that removed, I was able to push the shaft across and remove the opposite bearing cup as well. By now the penetrant had plenty of time to soak in and, surprisingly, I was able to wind the original bearing straight out. Its opposite side was exactly the same. WD-40 is absolutely key for this. There we have it, it's finally removed. The next one was just as stubborn, but I'm going to show you the highlights when it all eventually came apart. Old, worn and cracked. Let's get to work and replace them. An electric wire brush cleans everything up really well. Be sure to remark the positions for reassembly. An abrasive pad cleans the bores and a pick for clearing out the circlip grooves. Take the new joint, remove the bearing caps and make sure the needle rollers are present and seated correctly. With the joint in position and the bearing caps loosely sat in the bores, I begin winding it in up against the backing plate. The initial installation needs to start square. As one side moves in, I stop to recenter the joint in the bearing caps before continuing. Once that side was flush, I switched over and wound the opposite side flush in as well. From there, I kept alternating sides, pressing the joint in little at a time while making sure it stays central. Eventually, I was able to fit the first circlip. On the opposite side, I saw it wasn't quite seated and I nudged the joint up to the circlip and fitted the other one into place. A few things I've learned from doing this job. 1. Make sure the bearing cap needles are present and not fallen. I don't recommend a hammer as this can knock them over. 2. Try and wind it in as straight as possible. A crowbar can help if the casting shape is awkward. 3. Lift the joint so it slots into the caps and wind little at a time. It doesn't matter if you keep switching sides, you want it central. 4. If it feels tight, it will be because you're pushing at an angle. Stop, readjust and try again. Never force them in. 5. And finally, once the circlip is fitted, you can press the joint across against it and use it as a stop whilst fitting the opposite side. If you need to fit a coupling yoke into a center block, I recommend removing all the bearing caps and loosely assembling everything before pressing any bearings in. One advantage of using this clamp setup is you can actually feel the force as you're pressing it in. You've got more control. You can tell if it's flowing in naturally or starting to bind. That helps you avoid snapping the bearing or forcing it in at an angle, which is where damage usually happens. A press can work, but you do lose that feedback and that's where things can go wrong. But if you know me, I like my DIY solutions and I like things to be done at home. Once finished, if it feels tight, give the ear castings a light tap just to make sure everything is seated correctly. If it's a greasable joint, use a grease gun and pump it until you see fresh grease start to appear at the seals. And that's it, job done. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe.